Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Smart. Today I'll be sharing with you the first episode on how to build irresistible learning habit. Irresistible learning habit. Right. So why is this topic so important and why did I choose to talk about it? Well, everything we have achieved or everything we have failed to achieve in life is a direct result of the knowledge we have acquired over time. All right. So our daily decisions are based on what we know and what we don't know. The information we have or the information we don't have guides our choices, impacts our personal and professional lives. All right. Our skills, the abilities we have developed through learning enable us to perform certain tasks effectively and open doors to new opportunities. Right? Our mindset, the way we think, the way we reason, and the way we approach issues influences how we relate with one another, how we take advantage of opportunities. All right? The growth mindset will always encourage continuous learning. The knowledge and skills we acquire can create new possibilities and shape the pathway for us. All right. Take for example, a medical doctor, an engineer, or a software developer didn't just become successful by accident. They gained knowledge and then they apply the knowledge before they can master their craft. Right? So the same thing here. If we are stuck in failure or stagnation, we are often limited by what we don't know. All right. All we know comes from what we learn. We are not born with knowledge. We acquire knowledge through learning. A child doesn't know how to walk, talk, or write until they learn it. A professional doesn't gain expertise without study and practice. This means that learning is the foundation of growth in every aspect of our life. If you don't learn, there is no way you can grow. If we don't learn, there is absolutely no way we can grow. Human beings are learnable creatures. I repeat that again. Human beings are learnable creatures. All right. Unlike other creatures that rely mostly on instincts, human beings have the unique ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is what makes us adaptable and capable of transformation. This is what makes us adaptable and capable of change. Right? Someone who is bad at math today can become a great mathematician tomorrow or the nearest future through consistent learning. A struggling public speaker can become a powerful orator by practicing and improving. Your intelligence, skills, and abilities are not fixed. You can improve anything through learning. All right. So we are who we are and where we are because of what we know. Wherever we are right now is as a result of what we know. Everything we know is a result of what we have learned. Human beings are designed to learn and grow. The source of growth is learning. I'm not talking like a professional here. I don't claim to be a professional. All right. I don't pretend to be a professional neuroscientist or an educational psychologist who is qualified to teach you about learning. But I am someone who has struggled with learning from childhood into adulthood and have gained a deep understanding of the challenges involved. So I used to be a terrible student in school. Really, really terrible. I struggled right from my primary school level all the way to my university level. I couldn't answer questions in the class. I couldn't pass a test or exams. Even at the university level, I couldn't write exams on my own without copying from my classmates or friends. Even Despite coping from classmates and friends, paying some lecturers to upgrade my scores, I still had many carryovers when I was in school. I could barely read and write well. It was embarrassing. I mean, really, really embarrassing. I remember how some of my teachers, some lecturers, and even some of my classmates humiliated me at some point. This humiliation even forced me to believe that my brain was never designed for education. My brain was not made to learn or to digest anything, right? Because of this, I grew up with very low self-esteem. I mean, I lost my self-esteem completely. I grew up with poor self-image and a high level of uncertainty. But then my turning point came when I listened to someone who helped me to discover that self-education is the key to personal development. That message got me inspired to start buying books, something I had never done before. I don't used to buy books. I didn't even know that buying books was something I was supposed to do. Like, it was supposed to be my lifestyle. All right. So I didn't just buy those books. I had a very strong determination and desire to read all of them. I had even homeschooled myself to learn very basic things that I missed from my primary school level. But putting enough effort to educate myself was just the beginning. One day during my personal development journey, I asked myself, how does the human brain digest information? How do we learn? What is the best way to acquire skills? I wanted to figure out the science of learning, the scientific method of learning effectively. I wanted to understand how we can learn and digest information effectively, right? So the knowledge I discovered in the process of answering these questions transformed the way I approach learning. And today, my story has completely changed. So I want to share this knowledge with you because if I could rewire my brain to become a better learner, so you can. One of the things I discovered about learning is that learning is basically about training your brain to achieve mastery in a particular subject or skill, right? Training your brain to achieve mastery, right? Training your brain to gain mastery of something. Your brain is like a sophisticated computer that operates based on the commands that you give to it. I think you have to mark my use of words here, okay? I use the word commands, right? Your brain works based on the command you issue to it, which means that you are the one in control of your brain. You are the one in charge of your brain. You are the one telling your brain how to process information, what to focus on, what to learn, and what not to learn. So you are completely in charge of how you will want your brain to function. Right? As great as your computer is, your computer cannot do anything meaningful till you tell your computer what to do. A computer will not run a program unless you install and execute the program. The same way your brain will never develop a learning habit unless you consistently tell your brain that learning is important to you. I'm sure you get that, right? So the key here is that your brain can only keep things that are important to you. I don't know if you already understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that your brain can only keep things that are important to you. If your computer is full of junk files, it is because you or someone else put those files there, right? Your brain works the same way. Your brain learns whatever you expose it to, whether it is useful or not. Whatever you expose your brain to, if you feed your brain with productive learning habits, it will optimize learning. If you fill your brain with distractions, procrastinations, or shallow thinking, the truth is that your brain will struggle to focus and retain knowledge. Before 1960s, the dominant belief in neuroscience was that the human brain was fixed and unchangeable after childhood. That used to be their belief. So scientists used to think that once the human brain is fully developed, no new neurons could form and the structure remained static throughout human life. This idea was rooted in the concept of neural determinism, right? Which suggests that intelligence, abilities, and even personality were largely set from birth, set from child. But research in the 1960s and beyond began to challenge this view, and that was when the concept of neuroplasticity was born. That was when the concept of neuroplasticity was discovered. Right? Neuroscience has helped us to understand that there is a foundation when it comes to learning, and that foundation is neuroplasticity, that provides a biological foundation that makes learning mastery possible. You see, the purpose of learning is mastery. The reason why you intend to learn something in the first place is to gain mastery on whatever you intend to learn. Neuroplasticity is about your brain's ability to change structure and reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. It is neuroplasticity that allows your brain to form new habits. Please listen to this. It is neuroplasticity that allows your brain to form new habits. It is neuroplasticity that helps your brain to adapt to new way of doing things. It is neuroplasticity that allows your brain to learn new skills and digest new information, right? Every time you pick up a book to read or learn a new skill, a specific neural pathway is created in your brain, right? So the more you learn and practice what you have learned, the stronger the neural pathway becomes. So as learning sticks, your intelligence increases, right? So when you learn and practice something, neurons, that's your brain cells, begin to send signals back and forth, all right? And the connections between the neurons grow stronger. I think I should use example, all right? Take this example. Imagine a string of light, all right? And each light is a neuron, and the wires that connect the neuron are the pathways where messages travel. The more you turn on the light, right? The more you turn on this light by learning, the brighter and stronger the connection becomes. Okay? So, my knowledge of neuroplasticity as a person has given me hope and confidence that whenever I pick up a book to read or set out to learn anything new, mastery is inevitable if I follow the right principles of learning. Now, listen to me again. Every time I pick up a book to read, I have so much confidence. I have hope that I am going to learn those things successfully, that I'm going to get mastery of whatever I want to learn. And the reason is because I am willing to follow the right principles of learning. So there are principles of learning. There are predictable principles of learning. All right. So neuroplasticity simply means your brain is not fixed, right? Your brain is constantly reshaping itself based on what you learn and practice. Our brain is a highly adaptable organ, and it has the ability to rewire itself based on repeated behaviors, based on repeated actions, based on repeated thought and commands, right? So this is actually the foundational or fundamental aspect of how we learn and form habits, all right? Every time you repeat a certain habit or learning behavior, you are simply signaling or telling your brain that what you are doing is important and therefore deserves to be kept or preserved for future use. So your brain functions based on your commands, based on the commands that you give to it, all right? Based on instructions you give to it, all right? Your brain is automated based on the instructions you provide. The key here is repetition. Repetition of a behavior acts as a command. Whether those commands are positive or negative, whether the instructions are good or bad or good or evil, your brain doesn't differentiate it. What matters to your brain is preserving what you prioritized. Whether what you value is good or bad is irrelevant to your brain. Now, look at it this way. Just grab your phone recorder right now and open it, right? When you open it, you realize that your phone recorder will start recording immediately without questioning what you say. All right? So your phone recorder does not filter what is meaningful or useless. Your phone recorder just capture whatever comes in. So if you later replay the recording, you will only hear what was recorded and nothing else. Whether what was recorded was meaningful or just random noise, your phone recorder does not care. Your phone recorder does not care. So your brain works the same way. Your brain constantly absorbs and records what you expose it to. Whether what you expose it to is good or bad, useful or useless, your brain does not care. Alright. So your brain records everything. You fit it. Everything you fit it. Your brain doesn't judge. Your brain does not decide for you. It only strengthens repeated inputs. Your brain only strengthens your repeated inputs. Your phone recorder doesn't tell you, hey bro, these things you are recording is nonsense, bro. And because of that, I won't save it or I won't preserve it for you. No, it just captures everything. It just captures everything. So just like a phone recorder does not decide to capture, does not decide what to capture, your brain does not naturally filter what is worth learning or not. It simply records and strengthens whatever is repeated. Whatever is repeated, please mark the word repeated. We form habits by repetition. Whether good habit or bad habit, we form all of them by repetition. If you expose yourself to valuable learning, your brain records and reinforces it. If you fill your mind with distractions, your brain stores that distractions too. If you expose yourself to negativity, your brain gets recorded as well. I give you an example, practical example. If you read about 10 to 20 minutes there, your brain strengthens focus and retention. But if you scroll through social media for hours instead, your brain records that as a habit and makes it even harder to focus on learning. A lot of people cannot read a book up to 10 minutes. The reason is because they have successfully wired their brain to focus on something else that are not important compared to things that are important. Another point you need to hear or you need to note here is that your brain can only replay what is stored. Your brain can only replay what is stored, right? So when you open a voice recording, you only hear what was previously recorded. You can't play what was never captured. What was not recorded cannot be replayed. The same thing happened here. So when you need knowledge or skills, your brain can only retrieve what you have stored through repetition and practice again. Repetition and practice. Repetition and practice. If you have never practiced a language, you can't expect your brain to suddenly recall that language or that knowledge. It doesn't work that way. If you have never learned how to perform surgery through well-structured medical procedures and practices, then don't expect your brain to suddenly recall such knowledge or skill when you need it. You can't extract from your brain what you didn't put in. You can't withdraw more from your bank account than what you deposited in it. Alright. So your brain is as good as what you allowed into it, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you want to recall any valuable knowledge or skill, you must record it intentionally. We don't acquire skill or knowledge by accident. We acquire them by being intentional. Intentional. Another point here is that to change what is recorded, you must overwrite it. If you accidentally record meaningless noise on your phone, what do? You record something new over it. You have to intentionally replace the old recording with a new one. Your brain works the same way. If you develop poor learning habits over the years, you can't just delete them overnight. You cannot delete them overnight. You cannot just wake up and delete them just like that. No, it doesn't work. You must gradually replace them with better ones, better information, superior knowledge. If you have filled your brain with distractions for so many years without even realizing it, now you need to intentionally train your brain to focus. Everything is learnable. If you have developed a habit of studying only when you are motivated, now you need to replace it with a disciplined study session at set time. You have to reprogram your brain by consistently recording the right habits. So our brain is always recording. You have to make sure you control what goes in there. You are the one in charge. You need to understand that repetition strengthens whatever is recorded, whether good or bad. Your brain can only replay what has been stored. So you must train your brain wisely. You must be intentional. You can only override past bad recordings by consistently reinforcing better habits. Your brain is a recording machine. So you have to make sure your brain continues to record what will benefit you in future. Thanks for watching. Don't miss the next video where we will discuss the step-by-step scientific method for building irresistible learning habits. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with someone who would love to hear this too. Thank you and have a great time.